left at the fork.
And we wanted to get that is left.
Right through the front door.
All right, how are you?
Smart that way. You'll go out here the same way you came in.
Robert Greene is my name.
Julian Edgar,
Hi, I'm
Okay,
Nikki.
All right. So,
my wife.
so y'all walking around with a good camera.
Couple cameras.
Huh?
Couple cameras, just both of these.
Yeah, but at the same time. This is what we came from. And this is actually, I just had, this is the article that this picture was a part of. And the question was, should we rebuild? And it was no question, should we rebuild?
Should it
Should we
reveal?
rebuild?
Well, you got to understand, people believed that this was a poor black neighborhood. They believed that everybody down here was on welfare, and they thought they were getting rid of a social problem, as opposed to everybody down here owned their houses. My mother, we moved down here in 1967. There are people who had been living down here a long time before, since 1920. So when the question of should we rebuild, it was a question of two things. Whether we were taxpayers, which we were,
Right.
whether we served in the armed forces, which the flag that I got at my mother's funeral, which the flag that all 10 of my aunts and uncles got when they got passed and passed on, all 45 of my first cousins. So basically, we did everything. We paid taxes, we served this country, so there was no question. But if you can ask the question and you can make people believe that it's a legitimate answer, then you could have what you had. But unfortunately, we had people like me who decided they would be the one farmer who didn't sell and moved back. You had people like Charles who built this house, like Mr. Duplessis, Mr. Gettridge, Miss Gloria up the street. But there are a lot of people who decided to come back, but people thought that we shouldn't come back. You know, or should they let us come back? It was just the same thing of every year. There's a fire in Texas, there's a fire in California, there's mudslides, there's something happening. It happened in Colorado, it happened in Iowa, it's happening all over the country, so there's no question should they rebuild. And even in California, when the fires rage through there, there's no question should they rebuild. They just automatically rebuild in the same fucking spot without a question.
Right.
You know, and they don't say, oh, well, at least they have the wherewithal to do it if we did. You know. So, which direction do you want to go? I actually worked with the museum, and initially I didn't give credence to it because they sent children to do interviews. And at that particular time, not that I had been interviewed by every major network, PBS, NBC, and all these other different people, and Noah Anderson Cooper, I just didn't feel like talking to children.
Right.
At that time, who had no clue what happened. But when I went to the museum, changed my perspective on it, because what it does, it actually gives a chance for people who may have issues with what happened to actually speak out, and that's, you get the oral history now as opposed to after they did. The museum itself, I was actually worried about them, but they provide an integral part for the neighborhood and those kids in that neighborhood over where they at. Plus, at the same time, some of the things that they do. You know, so I would think that a lot of times people like Brad Pitt should be standing on the rooftops, and they should be standing on the rooftops. They tend to stand in the background.
Yeah, I think it is a hard thing for some people to, I mean, I guess you're more suited to discuss what your thoughts on
No,
that.
I mean, I get it, and I mean, he kind of summed it up, that there's this whole white savior complex that, you know, I work in the city of Detroit as a social worker and have for a long time, and I get different receptions from different people.
Well-
Some people appreciate it. Some people think that I'm coming in.
Trying to do more.
Yeah.
With a hidden agenda.
Right.
The difference is I found out the agendas are not hidden. If you gonna talk to me, then I'm gonna tell you about a lot of the stuff you see. Just like this is Samuel Beckett's play, Waiting for the Dope. Samuel Beckett's play actually was performed in the lower ninth ward, and literally gave us a chance to laugh at what was happening to us. Paul Chan, the creative time with the Classical Theater of Harlem, they came down and did that. Where y'all from?
Detroit, Michigan.
Detroit. Joe Cracchiola did this picture. He's from Detroit. Joe actually was a photographer and a musician that came down, and I met him about 2007, and we've been really good friends. Marlena is actually a lady from New Orleans who lived uptown who shot that particular picture. Philip Gould, not Philip Gould. This is Philip Gould's picture. Different photographers, different people. Alex Sutton, can't get the name from. Yeah, because of who they are. This picture I really love.
This is a really nice picture. I like
Well, it's beyond really nice. It was the #1 picture of the year in 2007. And actually, when I made the front page, my son said, "You're on the front page." I said, "Is it good or bad?" He couldn't tell. The picture is actually the back steps of my mother's house. The flag that I have on my shoulders is actually the flag that I have is the flag that I got at my funeral. And the picture itself is into international contest. And out of 44,000 entries, that picture won first place.
Oh, wow.
And I'll give you a copy of it, but what I love to tell people, or show people, is look who came in second place to me. And I love that, the fact that at this particular time when Putin is so prevalent, the second place to a black man out the ninth. You know, the inspiration to that picture was the Dwight Howard Superman dunk. And I was outside pretending, actually it was in Jet magazine. So I went outside trying to actually emulate that dunk with a smaller flag. The big flag was flapping too hard. And Ted Jackson, who actually shot that picture, pulled up and just caught that picture by luck. And like I say, when he entered it into that international contest, I love to show people, especially now, since Putin's getting so much play from Trump, you know, to actually, you know, do something. Just like Brad Pitt's Pink Project, what are you telling me? Brad Pitt's Pink Project got started off of Donald Trump's big mouth. He wanted to build the ninth ward, and when he started building the Pink Project, people thought Donald Trump had bought the ninth ward, and they came down here up in arms, and literally, I became a catalyst for what Make It Right was trying to do, because they were trying to build houses. Well, yeah, y'all didn't ask me about my stained glass.
I didn't. I've been waiting. I wanted to ask about that, and then.
Well, you can ask me to see everything in there just from my aunt, that was one of the first baby dolls, 1920. But getting back to the stained glass, during Katrina, our house literally floated away. We were on the roof of our house floated away with us up the street. This is a good representation. I love Douglas Brinkley. Him and Spike Lee are good friends of mine. But basically, this is where our house is, and this is where we floated up the street to. We floated on the roof of our house, and we could actually pass up there. This is the barge that was owned by the Forge, not the Forge, Ingram Barge Company out of Nashville, Tennessee, barge 3747. But the idea is, this barge is in the neighborhood. It was in the canal. Had that barge not come through the levee wall, this neighborhood wouldn't have been wiped away. You know, but that's some of the things that happen. And then, ironically, like I said, in the rubble, we came back and found my mother's body in the same location we left, you know. So there are a lot of different things, you know what I'm saying? So asking me what's sensitive and what's not sensitive. But ironically, this stained glass was done because my mother passed and my granddaughter passed. The story was done where my mother's dying words was she was going to take care of my granddaughter. My granddaughter died 4:30 in the morning. My mother died 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And when she was dying, she was telling my brother she was going to take care of my granddaughter, which that's the picture of Nene. Nene died first. Teddy was a friend of mine in Chicago, and Teddy, Teddy went to college with me, and he decided to get into doing stained glass. He had a stencil, and I asked him to do a piece for my mother and my granddaughter. Fortunately, Facebook had just got started because we lost everything when our house floated. And these are the only pictures I had of my mother, so he took those pictures and put together the stained glass, you know, for it. Now, what he's doing now, that's a facial feature, that's facial. He's actually going now into paint faces on it, but the idea is he provided me with a way of getting something. These pieces are called sister pieces, and when Katrina comes around, the anniversaries come around, I always get a lot of credit. And I'm always in the newspapers. But last time, these are the two babies that were with us on the roof. And they were there when their sister died, when my mother died, but they're there now, so these two pieces, sister pieces, are gonna go to them.
Wow,
So
it's beautiful.
So it's the idea that I get lucky enough to be drawn into so much. This particular picture, if you look at this, that looks like me. My high school picture.
Yeah.
When I saw it, I got overjoyed. Oh, that's my high school picture. This is not me. My house floated away. And I had to come to that realization. The photographer who shot that is Debbie Catherine. She's a famous black and white photographer, but that's what I'm saying. I've been fortunate enough to be blessed enough to be around a lot of people that do good things. I want to make sure y'all don't leave it out Vladimir.
Oh, thank you. Without Vladimir.
Yeah.
Ooh, what would we do without him?
A lot.